All right, we are back, and today we're gonna talk about how to throw strikes like the pros, some tips, some secrets. Let's get into it. All right, Brad, so we're gonna talk how to throw more strikes. Now, in order to do that, we have to have a good idea about what's going on the lane. Visualize it, and no matter how you throw it, you have to be able to paint that picture. Now, we have a 40-foot pattern out here, but we don't know how the pattern is designed. We just know it's 40 feet. So we're gonna go through our process on how to visualize it in hopes that by us going through our process on figuring out what's on the lane, how to paint that picture, that should give you guys some good tips on also how to get lined up.
Yeah, so first things first, you know, the pros, they're the best in the world, but they are also the best in the world at just understanding where should I throw it, how should I throw it, and the way you do that is you gotta throw some shots. So we always start out by kind of seeing what the outside part of the lane does. We're gonna hit about 7 at the arrows. We're gonna see what the gutter does.
All right, that's 7.
6. All right, so that's longer than cheetah.
Yeah, it's okay, so we can rule out it's not a short pattern right there. So, or it's not playing. So we know it's 40 feet. I'm gonna throw another shot. We're just trying to get an idea of what the entire lane does, and that's what's really important about this process. So I'm gonna throw a shot similar to Brad. I might go a little further out and see if there's any hook on the gutter.
Dang. Wow.
Okay.
That might have been the best shot I've ever seen you throw.
It felt like the best
First
shot I've
one out
ever
the
thrown.
gate.
All right, so we know there's some hook out there. So we're trying to paint this picture, guys. So act like this is your first shot to practice. We're just getting a visualization of what's going on in the lane. We're not worrying about really how we're throwing it, nothing. We're just trying to see what the lane is doing.
Yeah, so we just threw 2 out to the right. Now I'm gonna bump in a little bit. What is the middle part of the lane doing? Does it provide some shim or does it provide a bunch of... Wow.
Okay.
All right. So not a ton of hook.
Yeah, not a ton of hook.
That
It struck
glided,
though.
yeah.
I mean, you had a little hold to push down the lane, so I'm gonna try a shot there too. The general rule of 31, which again, I should say general rule, would tell us 40 feet minus 31, quick math, 9. So our break point, the furthest right our ball should get is about 9. So I'm gonna throw a shot where I kind of try to do that. Pretty similar to what Brad does. Let's see how we like it. That thing got...
That was pretty good. Wow. What are we bowling on, the house shot?
We got the house shot out here. Okay, so now I know I can play left and I can play right.
Yep.
Okay.
But what we don't know is what happens when we miss.
When we
in
miss.
both of those areas.
Yeah, somehow we struck on both of them. So you want to try to throw a shot to where we play even further left to make sure that, you know, really far left isn't in play here.
All right, we're just a striking machine.
Nice.
Not bad.
Tips to strike like the pros. We
Just
can't
play
miss.
where,
Just play whatever you want.
Throw whatever ball you want.
All right, so we're still trying to get the best idea of, you know, what's going on here. So all these shots are doing is telling us information. I'm watching these balls go down the lane, I'm learning information. I know there's a little bit of free hook right, there's a little bit of hold in the middle part of the lane. So I'm gonna try a shot where I open it up. If this was a house shot, this ball would come back. So, and maybe this is, I don't know.
So general rule of thumb when you're talking about lane patterns, the easier it starts out, as games get bowled on it and the transition hits, the harder it kind of becomes. The harder it starts out, the more transition hits, the easier it becomes. So right now we kind of got whatever we want, really. I mean, we can play in the middle, we can play up it, kind of take your pick. A lot of times that means as we bowl, they're gonna get a little trickier and trickier in some cases.
Yeah, so let's throw a couple more shots here.
But this is still a fresh pattern. I'm gonna camp out around 10. 10 to 15 at the arrows is the normal. That's what we call the track. All right.
Okay, so a little push right there.
So that was a little firm.
Yeah.
Definitely some push.
A little firm. So this is definitely not, I wouldn't necessarily go as far. So, you know, for what we gathered, we know it's 40 feet. It's not a hard pattern. You know, it's not very difficult. I would say there's a good amount of ratio to it. But, you know, judging by that shot, it's not the freest pattern in the world.
It's not the freest pattern. And by hard, we mean, generally hard is like, you got like this.
You feel like
one place to play.
Yeah.
We know we got multiple places to play.
Yeah, in theory, and that's why like house shots are really easy in general, is because you can play so many different parts. When you're bowling on tougher patterns, pattern's gonna call for one place to play. So now, what do you do now? I struck from right, in, and further in.
You play your favorite part.
Play your favorite part. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. So I'm gonna go back out to the right. Cause I don't know, dude, that shot, there's some friction out here and there's a little hole in the middle. I'm gonna try to take advantage of that.
You're gonna throw it in the gutter? I thought that was in the gutter.
Fast racks. I did think that was in the gutter.
So that means that's not a bad place to play.
1-2 might be in play here.
All right, I'm gonna hop out there.
You're gonna hop out there. All right.
We're gonna see what's up with the outside of 5 line here.
So what's interesting on this pattern is that
Awesome.
we're getting like kind of the same amount of hook from right and in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if you're playing in and you're throwing to kind of the gutter, it slows down and hooks. If you're playing on the gutter, it slows down and hooks. Like there's really no part where it's just totally hydroplaning.
Right, so you can tell, I mean, the fact that our balls are getting to the pocket from playing far right out there, if this was a house shot, there's no oil outside of 5 on a house shot. Your ball theoretically is just gonna, like our balls on a house shot would run away Brooklyn. So now that tells me there is oil out there. There is some, I don't wanna call it out of bounds because we haven't missed yet, really. But there's something to play out there. So I'm gonna throw another one. And when I'm lining up here and I'm getting warmed up, I'm really just trying to stay up the back of the ball. I have a benchmark ball, this phase 2. This ball really it's a ball that I use everywhere, and because I know it so well, I can really trust what it's telling me on the lane.
All right.
I found the out of bounds.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
But one thing,
there's just a bad shot, right?
one thing we haven't done yet, and just for the sake of, and I would do this in a practice session, is I want to see what happens when I get slow. I've been hard, he's been firm, and we haven't really gotten to the point where it's went high yet. So I'm trying to test that range. How slow can I get it to where it actually goes too high and where it doesn't? So I'm gonna throw some slow. Yeah. Okay, so a little crispy, what we like to call it. You get a little
crisp.
slow and then the ball wants to,
Yeah,
so we have that a little bit.
Yeah, so now from these shots, we know we can kind of play anywhere. For some reason, I just want to try this right angle. But from that, we know that we need to stay up the back because they're a little crispier off the end. You know, you see how Brad's ball really took off there. So that tells me if we get around it and that ball sees the back part of the lane, it's gonna go left. So we still want to try to blend out the lane by being a little more up the back. So I'm gonna try one more shot right, and apparently if I shouldn't throw it in the gutter, I don't think. That was a little better shot for me. You know, we're still trying to, we're practicing here. We're trying to figure out the pattern. For me, trying to go like up 5 there, not enough hold. Threw that one okay. It was pretty similar. If that ball would have shimmed a little bit more and got to the pocket, I would say, okay, I could take advantage of that. But it didn't. So for me, I'm already thinking, all right, that's not a place where I can play. I need to move a little further left than that. So I'm gonna keep edging left.
Yep, and I'm gonna try a totally different ball. We got some crispy back ends. When we get a little slow, we know it's gonna overhook, which probably means we're not gonna throw this, but I just want to get an idea of what it's gonna do for later purposes. Yeah, okay. So pretty clean, really clean bowling ball. That's one of our cleanest covers, so we're just getting an idea of how clean it is.
As soon as I see that out of Brad's ball, I'm thinking, okay, I didn't love the way the clean cover looks at this point in time. So off my last shot where I looked at 5, I probably hit 6, 7. I'm gonna look at 7, 8 now. Still trying to keep my angles pretty straight, probably about 7, 8. So I'm just moving off that last shot I threw. I know the very outside part of the lane for me is a little too dry. I moved in about 3 or 4 with my feet, 2 with my eyes, and I got some push. So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's where I need to play. I already know that I have a little dry to the right there, right? Because when I threw it up there, it overhooked. Now I'm thinking, okay, I have a little dry to the right. Now when I move just left of that dry, I got some skid. So I might have some push here, and if I get it right a little bit, it might hook and get to the pocket. So now I kind of like that. I'm gonna try to now get the feel.
And as you're building that thought, you're envisioning that, like exactly what you just said, where There's a little bit hook to the right.
Yeah.
So when you're standing up here, that's actually what you're visualizing. Like you want the ball to go here because you know if you go here, it's gonna hook a little bit more. And if you go here, it's like you're actually processing that.
Yeah, it's almost like a trust thing. Because I know that there's a little hook to the right, I trust it. So when you have trust in your game, you're gonna throw better shots. So.
All right, so I'm gonna go to a completely different bowling ball now, a slow one. This should not change direction much. All right, thanks. So that was a little firm. I thought that would be what I would think is the line that I'm gonna play. Just kind of right in the middle of where all we've tested so far. A little firm though. We got some skid.
We got some skid.
We got some skid.
You either have to be a little more aggressive or, I don't know, a little slower. All right, so my last shot was real close. I'm just gonna try to throw a better one. We were looking at 5, I'm looking at 7 now. Try to stay up the back, pretty up the lane.
Wow.
To me, that one got a little right down lane. We just talked about that, right? I'm trying to visualize what's going on. I'm trying to find where the pattern is gonna give me the most leeway and take advantage of it. For me, what I'm seeing is that when I get that ball right there and I got that a little too far right, it came back. So now, I mean, when you see that, I want to take advantage of it. Now, if I can get a shot where I get it in a little bit and it holds, I'm playing there.
I thought that one was kind of firm too.
It was a little firm. It was a little
right
firm and right, and it caught and got there.
And yeah, that makes you comfortable. That's what we're looking for. So, I mean, I see that as his opponent, and I'm going, all right.
There's a little something out there.
All right, so I made like a 3 and 2 back to the right, squared up, kind of got a little bit more on top of him. I don't think I was as far right as you.
No, it was a little in.
A little in.
But you're a little softer with your speed too, right?
And it didn't crisply overhook like, you know, my clone did that one shot.
Yeah.
The slowness of the summit held it on line enough to trip that 4.
Yeah. So again, we said, you know, the pattern's 40 feet. So rule of 31 would tell us 9, right? But this is why you have to throw all these shots because, and paint that picture for yourself. We had a guide, we know, all right, that might be in play, but you can see that I have a pretty good look playing right now. And I've also missed right. So generally, if you're playing on a medium pattern like this, you know, if I'm playing out like that, a lot of medium patterns don't call for that. You have to play more the middle part of the lane, unless you're throwing urethane or something. But if I'm throwing reactive and I have missed right, then I know I can probably take advantage of that because typically on a 40-foot pattern that's a lot harder than this, you wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm just gonna change balls. So you know what the phase 2 is doing? Phase 2, strong cover, it's early. I was trying to play the front part of the lane a lot there. I'm gonna switch to an absolute power, new toy, and I'm gonna stay in the same exact place. So that was pretty close to what I did with the phase 2, except that absolute power is a cleaner cover.
Yeah, and it's asymmetric.
And it's asim, but to me the asim, I don't know if that came into play a whole lot. It was, I threw that one, it felt good off my fingers.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good, but this cover's cleaner, so now I'm thinking, okay, if I'm gonna play that straight angle, I need something that rolls earlier. That phase 2 rolls a little earlier for me. For me, the cover's a little stronger. It might be drilling, might be whatever. Absolute power, a little clean. So I didn't love that, because if it doesn't read that front part lane, it's not gonna hook a whole lot down lane.
Yeah, you're hoping that like still catches light and still has a chance to strike, not 2-8.
Yeah, visually, it whiffed the mid lane for me. Might be good in a game or two.
All right, so I'm gonna move a 2 and 1 off that last trip 4 and try and throw the same shot. All right, so I'm getting a decent look playing probably 3 to 4 boards left of where Kyle is right now. A little softer speed. The pattern's not telling me I gotta overthrow it, and it's not really telling me anything extreme.
Man, I'm really thinking, I like the right action. I like playing right with something that's a little earlier. I feel like I can keep my speed up, throw a little normal, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna move like 3 left of where Brad just threw a shot with this absolute power, cleaner cover. And I'm gonna see if I can, throw it to the right a little bit, slow it down so I give it time to read and get it to come back.
Yeah, so that cover is just clean.
Very clean cover. I'm not loving the way that ball is rolling right now, so after 2 shots, that would probably go right back in the bag.
Yeah, and maybe you could throw it slower and get it to hook the right way, but I mean, you're 0 for 2. What do you want to
And
be?
I split pretty much.
What do you want
both
a chance?
times,
0
so-
for 5?
Yeah.
Now he's paying attention. I got a symmetric, really slow bowling ball, so he's probably gonna go back to his phase 2 in a real competition. I'm moving another 2 and 1. A little right. Yeah, okay. That was a little right and a little pushed.
Yeah.
So instead of me just like coming through it, that was a little effort,
Yeah.
a little forced.
So now when we're playing left and creating more angle, you can see that the ball is not freely hooking as it did those first few shots.
Yeah.
We got a little transition going on here. And also when we're playing left to right, so left to right, like ball's starting out left, getting right and trying to come back, we're leaving a lot of junk. We're missing the head pin, in fact. So to me, I'm already thinking straighter angles. Straighter angles, the hook's not 100% developed there. Those first few shots where we got him to hook back, maybe they were flukes. So I'm gonna go back to the right, straighter angle, because I don't want to be leaving those washouts. Looking at 7.
Yeah, that was nice.
So we're trying to paint this picture. We're trying to teach you guys how to throw more strikes, right? Well, if you're not getting lined up and really getting a good picture of that lane, it's hard to throw strikes.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw one on top of yours. We obviously have one that was long there, that last one. So I'm seeing Kyle's reaction pretty good.
All right, so try another shot there, and then I would look at 7 and then just straighter angle.
Oh, yeah.
Is just a little right.
Yep. But we're definitely seeing a little bit of push.
But on the straighter angle, you left a 2-8, you didn't wash out when you missed the head
Oh,
pin
yeah.
to the right.
I'm not mad about that shot at all.
No. So I'd go a little further right. Should be close. Okay.
Yeah,
nice
so
shot.
we saw that ball pick up really nicely in the middle part of the
Yeah.
lane. Like there was a definite change of direction instead of just the push. So that little bit that I inched over to the right got me a little bit closer to that hook spot. And then now, it's like I don't feel like I have to be so perfect. Man, that one just did it on its own.
Yeah, it didn't overhook, blended the lane, all that stuff. So now, we're close to in our real practice session, we're close where it's about time to start competition. So what have we gathered here, Brad? So we're trying to depict the lane. We're trying to understand this invisible oil pattern. We knew it was 40 feet, but now we know that big angles, not great on the fresh. Maybe someone that had more hand than us could do it, but we're leaving a lot of junk when we open up our angles. So staying further right, out there. Pattern's 40 feet. We're supposed to be playing 9.
Yeah. And the middle, we haven't really had, the first 3 or 4 shots in practice, the lane's fresh, the ball got back, but now the transition we're seeing is making it just a little tighter in the back end. So if we're going a little bit left to right, we're gonna have to be really cautious and just almost perfect with our ball speed. But we noticed that when we get to the farther outside part of the lane, there's not just a bunch of push, there's actually some hook in the middle part of the lane, which allows you to kind of be a little bit more comfortable. Like you said, he's gonna shimmy up next to that hook spot. That way if he misses a little right, it gets to the hook spot. We weren't getting that in the middle part of the lane.
Yeah.
We were kind of like having to, our angles are going to have to be a little bit open, or we're a little firm here. It just wasn't clicking like that hook spot on the very far right part of the lane that we're utilizing now.
Yes, 100%.
So I'm going out to the right.
He's going out. So, we're pretty close to lined up. From all the information we've gathered, this seems like the best line. So, right now I'm sliding 15, looking at 7, probably hitting 8, trying to stay up the back. Pretty normal ball speed for me right now. All I'm looking at is I'm trying to keep my angles somewhat in front of me and just looking at 7 and just throwing my shot.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
You're aggressive there. You're not trying to be careful at all. You feel like you can throw your ball the way you need to throw it there. That's where you got to play.
Like you said, we found that right. I shimmied up next to it, and I have faith now. I feel like I can just throw it my normal way. I don't feel like I have to manipulate it a whole lot, which is always something we're looking for. We're not trying to manipulate the ball that much. From what you guys think to what we think is very similar things, We're not out here 45 degrees of axis rotation with 18.2. No, man, I got a normal shot, and I just want to try to repeat it, get comfortable. I found dry. I just got left of that dry, and now I'm just throwing it right there. It's where I have a little push and I have a little
Yeah,
hook.
and if we played out there and the ball just kept on sliding, and then we tried some service and it just wasn't working, then we're going to get to the middle part of the lane. But, you know, that looks better than the middle part of the lane, so we're going to play that until we no longer have it. And it's pretty much that simple. If we don't have it, we're going to try something else. If we got it, we're going to use it and go from there.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Again, trying to throw more strikes, we have to paint that picture. So I hope by us going through our process on this mystery pattern here, 40 feet, it was a little outside the box, right? We were supposed to play 9, but we found that the outside part of the lane was a little bit better, so right of that. So rule of 31 didn't necessarily apply to this pattern.
Yeah, and hey, guys, we have some great merch out there. That link in the description goes to bradandkyle.com. Just go check it out.
H5G.
Go see if you want
If
something.
you haven't heard, our new partner with our merch,
Yeah.
they're awesome. They gave us some great designs, so go ahead and check it out, and we'll see you on the next video.